Live from the KHOU 11 studios, it's Great Day Houston. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Great Day Houston. Okay, look, see, it's already starting. All right, it is Friday the 13th. Most people associate that date with bad luck, and there are plenty of fears and superstitions surrounding this day. Some people take it so seriously, they refuse to go travel on this day. And ever notice a lot of elevators skip floor 13? Look in this picture, floor 13 is actually floor 12A. In fact, there's even a name for this condition, frigatriskaidekaphobia. So what's all the fuss about? Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, is here today to dispel the fear of Friday the 13th. He's the author of Evidence of Eternity that deals with the fear and superstition surrounding spirit communication as well. Please welcome him to the show this morning. Good morning.
Thank you, Deborah.
All right, before we get to the whole Friday the 13th thing and the whole bit, we call you the psychic lawyer because you come from a family of what you call intuitives.
Definitely. Both sides of my family, on my mother's and my father's side of the family, there's people who've exhibited psychic and mediumistic contact which spans generations.
Yeah, all right, well, talk about fear of the unknown. A lot of people, as you know, you have people who completely believe in this. You have other people who say this is evil, it goes against my religion and the whole bit. At one point, you were going to be a priest.
Yes.
And so when people say this is evil, you explain it how?
We all have gifts from God. And in the book of Romans, verses 12, chapter 12, verses 6 through 8, it talks about we all have gifts from God. And in the book of Timothy, it says, do not deny your gift. And there's a lot of primitive fear and superstition associated with spirit communication that it's somehow evil. But in the thousands of readings that I've conducted, it's healing. It alleviates the pain and the stress. In fact, priests, Protestant ministers, I've had Hindu priests, Buddhist monks come to me for readings because in all my books I talk about Jesus and I take an interfaith approach. It's all about God.
Yeah, and you're a spiritual person. You believe in Jesus.
Absolutely, and I do my very best to always think, what would Jesus do in a situation?
Yeah, there are prophets in the Bible.
Absolutely, and in the Bible psychic abilities are looked at as a positive thing, they refer to us as prophets and prophetesses. And where we're looked at in a negative sense, it's referred to as you know, being witches and mediums. And a lot of people like to fling quotes at me from Leviticus and Deuteronomy about, well, mediums are not of God. But I always ask those people, have you eaten a hot dog, sausage, bacon, ham? Because that is
not of God.
That is not of God, and that is an abomination. So you don't want to be a salad bar Christian and pick and choose what verses to cast the stone of judgment at another person. And this is all about spirit communication, which is a gift from God.
All right. Your new book deals with evidence of eternity, communicating with spirits for proof of the afterlife, and kind of addresses that whole fear thing.
Yes.
Sometimes we have a healthy fear of something, like you should have a healthy fear of the burning stove,
yes,
or of a rattlesnake. Oh, look, rattlesnakes, stay away.
Yes.
But other things, it's because we feel uneasy, we're not on solid ground if we can't touch it, feel it, taste it.
People people are afraid of the unknown,
right?
And something that you don't understand, people immediately assign a negative feeling to it. And everybody's capable of having a mediumistic experience, although not everyone's a medium. And in Evidence of Eternity, I explain how the pineal gland, which is a gland within the brain, a pea-sized gland that has calcite and magnetite crystals, it generates an electromagnetic field. Now, the first radios were quartz crystals with copper wire running low levels of electricity through it. So in our head, we have a very sophisticated receiver, antenna, and transmitter. And this is not happen chance. Everybody has this. That's why we're all capable of feeling spirits around us. I mean, how many people in the audience have had a dream where a deceased loved one comes and talks to them? How many people have felt a deceased loved one around them? Or ever driving down the road and suddenly turn on the radio and there's that song that makes you think of them. In the chapter entitled Frequency Beacons in Evidence of Eternity, I explain this using science, theoretical physics, human physiology, and evidence. There is a delivery system for how this happens. Nothing in the universe or in the multiverses just happens. It's not magic or hocus pocus. There is a scientific reason for that, and that's why I wrote Evidence of Eternity.
All right, let's get to Friday the 13th, because there are some man-made superstitions, and that one came from where?
Frigatriskaidekaphobia, the
Yes.
fear of
Say that
Friday
three
the 13th.
times real fast.
That's a mouthful, isn't it? In my research into fear and superstition, it took me back 1,000 years to the time of the Crusades. And without getting into a history lesson, there was a special order of monks during the Crusades known as the Knights Templar. They are a religious military order. They set up the first banking system. It stretched from London to Jerusalem. So when people went off to the Middle East to wage wars, they didn't want to bring money with them, so they would deposit it in a Templar bank, get a certificate, and then redeem it at any Templar facility throughout the Mediterranean world. Well, as the Crusades began to become a military failure, European kings continued to borrow money, which the Templars charged interest, which was one of a very serious sin in the Middle Ages. It was called usury. Long story short, they were financing wars against their fellow Christian kings, and King Philippe IV of France could no longer pay back his loans to the Templars. So he was really, really badly in debt, and he conspired with Pope Clement V. And on Friday, October 13th of 1307, all the Knights Templar were rounded up in Paris, and they were charged with heresy, witchcraft, sodomy, and usury, and as many other charges as both the Vatican and the King of France could fling at them. And most of the Templars, if not all of them, confessed because they were put on the rack. They had their fingernails pulled off. I mean, this was the Middle Ages.
This was not a good time to be around, was it?
No, no. I mean, you know, getting a confession in the Middle Ages, not a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Knights Templar, they confessed, and the head of the order, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake in front of Notre Dame Cathedral. And the very last thing he said, as the flames were engulfing him, he cried out, "King Philippe and Pope Clement will see me before God." Within a month, Pope Clement dropped dead, presumably of a stroke. And a few months later, King Philippe was killed in a hunting accident. Well, let me tell you, news spread. I mean, gossip this juicy spread throughout France, and people were saying that, oh, Jacques de Molay was definitely an agent of Satan and pronounced an evil spell upon the king and the pope. And then other people said, well, perhaps he was a martyr and rendering the sentence of God upon the king and the pope who conspired against him.
Could be good luck in
Friday the 13th, exactly. And so that's where it started. And within a few years, there's a reference to Friday being a cursed day in the Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
So we do have the evidence linking it through the centuries.
Yeah. All right. You are going to do some readings in a minute. Explain to us what it is that you feel and see, because I see you glancing out the audience. It's like the audience is really 10 times this size right now, because y'all brought some people you didn't know you brought. But tell us what it is that you see and feel. What do you need from our audience members as you begin to read them?
What's going to happen is when I open up to frequency, because everything that I do as a medium involves frequency, and spirits are going to come forward. I may start describing somebody, or I may be drawn to a particular person or an area in the crowd. If the description that I give fits more than one person, feel free to raise your hands, because I'm going to continue to get pieces of information until we narrow it down to the right person and the right spirit. All right.
We'll be right back with readings from Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, after this. And we are back with the psychic lawyer, Mark Anthony. All right, take it away.
Someone's raising their hand. and I realize that everyone has instructed their dead loved ones to shove everyone else's dead loved ones out of the way. So I get that, but it doesn't always work that way. I'm getting an older woman coming through, and what I'm getting with her is a dizzy sensation in my head, which is indicating prior to passing there was something compromising her ability to concentrate. I'm also getting a lot of medications, and I'm getting a pain right here which would be just to the right of the solar plexus. It's going into the liver. I'm also getting other sensations, burning sensations in the GI tract. So she was having a lot of problems in her liver and her GI tract, and the pain now is creeping up my back and into my side. This feels very much like a cancerous condition. Does this make sense with anybody? Make sense with you?
Yes.
Yes, in what way, yes?
Sorta. No, she didn't die of cancer.
She did not have cancer.
Not at the time she died.
Not at the time she died, but she had cancer? All right, hold on. Aries, the Aries time frame. Does Aries make sense?
It's my birthday.
There we go. Okay.
She's like, let me clarify.
All right. She said, you keep waiting for a miracle to happen. You keep waiting for some big event to happen to change your life. And what she wants you to know is that on one hand, you're really on the right track, but on the other hand, she says you make your own luck and you make your own miracles. What I really like about your mom is that she was one of these people that would say to you, the harder I work, the luckier I get, that you can't wait for life to give you anything, nor should you ever expect life to give you something, that you have to work for it and push for it. Does this make sense?
Oh, definitely.
And she's talking about you and glass objects. And I know we all have glasses and glass objects, but she's real big on glass. Does this make sense?
Maybe diamonds?
Oh.
Interesting, because Aries is most of April, and diamonds are the birthstone for April, okay? But I'm getting to glass, like glass vases, glass objects. In what way?
I have a lot of crystal. She loved crystal.
So the answer is?
Yes.
Are you taking a lot of vitamin B?
B?
B.
I don't think so.
There's some issue with you and vitamin B. Now, when a spirit gives me medical information, that does not mean run out and start taking vitamin B. That could be an issue. I want you to run that through your healthcare provider. But she's also talking about like issues with your fingers or fingernails. Does this make sense?
Yes.
In what way?
I just bought biotin yesterday because my nails are a mess.
Oh, there's the B. Biotin. Yes.
Biotin is vitamin B.
Is it? That's why I said I'm not sure.
Apparently they have a pharmacy in heaven. I wonder if it's open 24 hours a day.
I wonder if they have a fat pill in heaven, because I'll get that one.
You know, everybody looks good in heaven, and I'm having a premonition that we're coming up on a station break.
Yeah, yes, we are. Yeah, very good, very good. We will be right back with more from Mark Anthony after this. We are back with the psychic lawyer, Mark Anthony, and he is helping people to connect to the other side.
Now, I'm getting a male energy coming through, and with him, this, I'm feeling, we're getting a lot of stomach issues today because I'm feeling a nausea and a vomiting, which is indicating to me prior to passing, he could not hold down food. His passing was long and slow because I'm also getting involvement in the chest, and I'm feeling this sensation in my nose where there was a breathing issue. He could possibly have been intubated or on a ventilator. Does this make sense? Okay, hold on, we got a couple different people. This gentleman is talking about like shellfish, which could also indicate an iodine sensitivity, or he just loved eating shellfish and seafood. Does this make sense, either of you? You're giggling, okay. Okay, why?
Well, growing up, we had a beach house in Galveston. We fished all the time, and the last Valentine's Day we spent together, we bought a whole load of snow crab and awesome times.
Okay, so that's a shared memory he's bringing up. All right, hold on. I'm going to ask you to stand too. Yeah. Take a deep breath. It's only dead people talking to you, nothing to be afraid of. He loved you so much, and he's talking about you reading to him. Does this make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
In what way?
The last 2 weeks.
You need to talk into the microphone, please.
The last 2 weeks, I spent a lot of time with him in the hospital and
you were reading to him
and saying.
Yeah, he's acknowledging that. He also wants you to know he knows that you knew he was going to die, but you kept pretending and humoring him that he wasn't. All right, so he's aware of that, and he really appreciates it. He said, but the one thing you could never do is pull the wool over my eyes. He goes, oh, when you were making up stories, I could see right through that. And he appreciated
Hold
it.
on, you just had a big reaction to that. If we could get the camera, okay, your big reaction to that, why is that?
Well, that was, he always said I was pulling tails. I mean, that I was making stuff up. That was a joke, I think, most of the time.
You weren't really pulling tails, yeah.
And funny thing about the story, when I was little, we had a 4-hour trip to Kingsland, and I recited the story from memory of the Velveteen Rabbit, which was a huge, I think they all really wanted me to shut up. So that was something that he joked about quite a bit, the Velveteen Rabbit.
But you know, that was one of the things that he loved about you. And also what he really appreciated is that no matter how busy you were, and this is before he got sick, you always made time for him. You know that song, Cats in the Cradle? I'm hearing Cats in the Cradle. And that's a song about a father that never had time for her son, and then the son grows up and never has time for the father. He said, well, that song wasn't us. And you always made time for him, and he says, I tried my very best to make time for you. Does the month of September make sense to you? I'm being pulled into the month of September.
My mom's birthday.
Okay, and she's still with us?
Yes.
All right, so what he wants her to know is she was always the belle of the ball as far as he was concerned. And he wants her to know that when she looks in the mirror to this day, see the girl that was 17. And the number 17 keeps coming through as well. So he always wants her to visualize herself as being the most beautiful woman in the world for him. He says she always was and she always will be. And that's what he wants your mom to know. All right, I have another male energy coming through, and what I'm getting with him is what I call a draining sensation throughout his body, which indicates that his passing was long and slow, and I'm tasting a lot of blood in his mouth. Now, this could indicate that he was hemorrhaging or that he was having some type of issue in his head, in his brain, because I do get the blood, and I'm getting a sensation in my hands and feet, which are indicating that there were circulation problems. I'm getting very, very cold. This could be what's known as peripheral neuropathy, and I'm also feeling my lungs filling up. So he had issues going on in his lungs. Does this make sense with you? Okay.
My father.
Okay.
Who had blood when he was in the hospital before he.
All right. Remember, got to
Yes.
talk into the microphone.
Before his passing, he was having a lot of blood transfusion. He was a diabetic. He had poor circulation of the feet.
Well, neuropathy would diabetes also
Okay,
cause
so-
that.
And he did have, he had a trach,
And he had trach. Okay, so we're getting all of that.
colon cancer.
Okay.
A lot of issues towards the end.
Was he having problems with his teeth as well?
He had poor teeth.
Poor teeth. Okay, because also my teeth start to hurt. So I feel these sensations so that he can transmit them to you. Are you afraid of the dark?
No.
He's talking about like afraid of the dark or having night lights on all the time.
This weekend, my daughter is, and we were at my husband's
In other
mother.
words, his granddaughter?
His granddaughter.
All right,
And
so he's coming through, and that means he wants to reference you as well. He's talking about your fear of the dark. What he's telling me is that you're really not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of the unknown, and not like there's a boogeyman coming to get you, but that it's a self-esteem issue within yourself. And he said that fear of darkness is something for you to overcome to give you more self-confidence. Okay? And he wants you to know that you already have everything that you need. It's that you're tearing yourself down, saying, I'm not good enough, and I'm not pretty enough, and I'm not smart enough. And he says, well, damn it, pardon this, stop it. All right? He wants you to start taking more pride in your abilities and in your self-confidence, because the one thing that he always loved about you is that you always brought a tear to his eye, and you made him, he said, she used to steal my heart away when she was a little girl.
That was, he lived and breathed for her. I mean, even when I would get after her, he would turn around and goes, no, 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 not in front of me. And the thing about the nightlight, we were at my husband's mother at the house Sunday, and they told her to put a nightlight because she has seen him before, and they were just saying to put a nightlight just to help her through the night, because she's ever.
When you say she's seen him before,
he appeared to her.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful. And see, that's why he's telling you not to be afraid of the dark and the unknown. This isn't a ghost coming to get you. This is your grandfather reaching out to you with love from the other side to let you know that there is a lot beyond this life. Because you believe in God, you believe in heaven. He knows that you believe that. He just wants to make sure. He said, because the other thing about you is you'll say you believe something, but then you want some proof.
Yes. That's a lot of us. We say we believe, but then we're afraid.
We want validation, and that's a good point, Deborah, because the fear of the unknown, what happens when I die? That's scary stuff. That's scary stuff. But the fact is, your grandfather loves you, and he is with you. Now, there is something, are you in some competition? He's talking about some competition. What's going on with this?
I play golf, and so I'm in tournament season right now.
Competition.
Thursday of this coming week.
Okay, I'm going to put this in television, G-rated language.
Okay.
He says, go kick butt and take names.
Thank you.
And so once again, it's the fear, this fear of the dark. You're doubting yourself. You're letting it eat at your self-confidence. And I was talking to Cameron on one of the breaks, and there's a piece of Buddhist knowledge I would like to share with you, that it is the ego which eats at us. And the ego tells you you're not good enough and you're not smart enough. And this is what your dad, your granddad is conveying to you. And the ego always tempts you with the promise of something you already possess. You have everything you already need to be a champ. And your dad knows it, your mom knows it, your grandma knows it, but there's one person that really needs to know it and believe it. And who might that be?
Me.
Let's say it so the whole world can hear you.
Me.
That's right, you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Are you drinking chocolate milk or something? Like I'm tasting Ovaltine.
My husband, I went to Kroger's and I bought him chocolate milk because none of us like it, and he's been drinking a lot of chocolate milk.
All right, hold on. No, you're not done yet. On your feet.
Bingo!
You too, on your dad. Okay, so he wants to talk about your husband. This ought to be good. Your father on the other side says that he's a leadfoot, and he needs to slow down and pay more attention when he's driving, because he all too often has precious cargo on board. All right? But also he wants your husband to know that he thinks of him and loves him like a son, and that's very important for him to know.
Evidence of Eternity. It's available online. Who is this book for?
Evidence of Eternity is for anyone who wants to understand what happens when I die, the reality of spirit communication, and to remove the fear and superstition from spirit communication. And it takes an interfaith approach. So far, it's hit #1 on 2 different best-selling lists on Amazon.
People want to know.
People want to know. It has been getting 5-star reviews, and it's already been chosen Book of the Month by bookreview.com. The Hollywood Times is endorsing it, and it's only been out since Sunday. So,
because I think even if people are somewhat edgy or fearful about, you have to open yourself to knowing the information, and then you can make a better decision.
It does, because it validates faith, and Evidence of Eternity shows and teaches all of us that faith and science are not mutually exclusive.
All right, well, everyone in our studio audience is going home with a copy of the book.